Welcome to the Hospitality Institute. My name is Mauricio. I am your assessor for the online Responsible Service of Alcohol course. This is video one of the series, and what these videos are designed to do is to provide you with some additional detail and in response to the questions that are in part B of the online assessment. So I will be making reference to the questions that we are referring to. As you can see on the screen here, we are focusing on these questions primarily. There is a level of content on the portal where you can read through. These is provide you with some additional detail and some content that you can use in order to provide your written responses. The first question you'll come to is where it starts asking you to sort of explain why is it important? Why is this course important? Why is responsible service of alcohol important? And as you can see here, the focus here is on the community and on the government agencies. And the whole point is to be responsible in the workplace, serve liquor in a responsible manner. So we are not putting the community and the emergency services in additional stress. And the main focus here is to make sure that we are not increasing the level of crime in the community. If we can maintain a safe environment in our workplace and make sure the customers do not get intoxicated, then we are able to, when they leave the premises, they're not going to be causing any trouble. And the main focus here is going to be what happens when they leave the business. Do they leave and engage in fights or damage to property? Walk down the street and break into cars. Damage other people's property, your property. Okay, so the main focus of these courses are for you to understand how much what you serve, how it may impact the community around you. So the question that you'll come to is question number 15, where it's asking you to provide some detail into why is it important and how it impacts the government agencies. The main focus here as well is also going to be the health and safety of your customers as well. As we'll go into very shortly, there are some short-term and long-term impacts of alcohol consumption. So if we can limit the impact on the customers and make sure that they don't get too intoxicated, then it's obviously going to help them as well. And it's also going to maintain the safety of your staff. Having a workplace, an environment where people are intoxicated could damage the building and can also put your staff at risk. Fights, damage to equipment and to property will impact your staff, and it may impact the staff wanting to work in the business. As we can see here, there are some short-term effects, and one of the questions that you'll come to, question number 2, it's going to ask you to address what are some of the short-term and the long-term impacts of excessive alcohol consumption. It does ask you for 5 examples of what the short-term and long-term impacts are. So as you can see on the screen, as long as you focus on any of these 5, then you'll be able to address that question effectively. So short-term effects, as you can see on the screen, and long-term effects, so long-term consumption of alcohol. They do recommend that, little consumption as much as possible. Anything from more than 4 to 5 days a week is going to impact the individual quite significantly. So, and you can see here that, over a longer period of time, it will have longer impacts on your health. How it affects people is different. It does affect people differently based on gender, as you can see. Weight and size, your health is also a big part of that. How much the person's slept, how healthy the person is, are they fit, do they exercise? Water consumption is also quite an important one as well. So these can all have a very different impact on the individual. 2 individuals drinking the same alcohol, the same age, they will respond differently. It will affect them in a different way. Okay, so you'll see one of the questions will focus on how it is different for each of the individuals. The next couple of slides that we're going to go through is how do we notice if somebody is intoxicated? As you would have come to by looking through the previous questions, it is our responsibility to prevent intoxication. So these signs are very important to be able to observe. And the minute you observe these signs in an individual, it is our job to make sure that we either stop that person from consuming more alcohol, or we ask the person to leave the premises if they're showing signs of intoxication. So the areas that it will go into, and it's going to ask you for at least 2 examples of each of these different signs. The first one's going to focus on speech. So if you identify any of these examples on a person's behaviour and a person's when they're talking to you, it is important to engage with the customer, talk to the customer, get to know them, You know, if you can engage in conversation, then you'll be able to identify if it's intoxication, or it may be a speech impediment, it may be a mental or physical disability. We want to be able to identify that. So by engaging with that customer, we can identify if we notice any of these signs. Same when it comes to balance. If the person's approaching the bar and we can see they look unsteady on their feet, if we can see that they might be knocking into things or other people, then we want to be able to observe those signs and identify why that might be. Don't forget, we need to consider it may be a disability. There may be, you know, walking in shoes that are uncomfortable. The floor may be unsteady, so those factors need to be considered. Okay, but if we identify any of these signs, we need to make sure that we can address and either refuse service or eject that customer. Coordination. When you see the person at the bar, when you see them you know, going for their credit card or trying to obtain their money, if you see them you know, fumbling with their change, with their credit cards, dropping things, looking like they're just not coordinated, then that can be a sign as well. So don't forget, with the questions, it's asking to only for at least 2 examples for each one. And the last area that we want to be observing in the person's behaviour: do they appear to be aggressive, argumentative? Do they appear to be confused? You know, are they you know, being a bit louder than usual? You know, so if we identify any of these signs, if we identify those very aggressive signs of either behaviour, or if the person is ill, we need to be questioning, why is that person ill? Has it been due to a consumption of alcohol? If they've been on the premises and you've seen them consuming, then you're able to make that assumption. If they haven't been in the venue for that long and they've only just walked in, we need to assume that they might have drunk alcohol beforehand, or they maybe have taken any kind of illicit drugs. So that's the end of this video number 1. If you have any questions at all, please reach out on the portal and we can provide you with additional assistance.